Welcome, everybody. Today we have Lisa Leakey from Home Helpers, who's going to talk about heart health. And thank you very much for bringing all the healthy snacks. It's definitely healthier than the cookies I usually put out, but I hope you're enjoying them. I'm going to turn it over to Lisa so she can introduce herself and tell you more about her background. And actually, I hear a little dinging. If everyone could just silence their phones, I appreciate that. Thank you.
I hope mine's silenced. I have to, if you hear something from up here, let me know. Thanks, Deb. I'm Lisa Leake, and here today, thank you for coming, first of all, to learn a little bit about nutrition tips and heart health. Sorry, I think it's on the fritz. Oh, can you hear me, though? I've got a loud voice. No, you can't?
Hello, that's better.
Is this better? Hi, everyone. Here I am again. Can you hear me? Okay, well, this reminds me of teaching in college. This is a full class or of an auditorium or something. Anyway, my name is Lisa Leake. My background is in nutrition and wellness. I have a master's degree in health ed. I'm a national board certified health and wellness coach and a certified diabetes educator. I'm also a licensed health and nutrition educator for K through 12. So I've taught in the classroom a whole lot. Today, I'm here. I work for Home Helpers, which is a lovely home care agency right next door in Canton. Been around about 8 years. And what drew me to them is not only the people, the staff and the owners, but the caregivers who work there. And the fact that they're very well educated. In fact, Home Helpers has a heart health program. So that really drew me to the organization. Without too much more ado, because we have a time limit here, I think we'll just get going, okay? And I want you to know that there's a lot of words on the page. I'm going to make it real simple. The reason why I do that is because very often when I present, I can't read my notes, and that's happening right here as well. So that's my teleprompter, okay? You don't have to get lost in all the words. We'll break it down. So what is cardiovascular disease? It's an umbrella term for a whole bunch of different heart issues or heart diseases, mainly affecting the heart and the blood vessels, either leading to the heart or around the heart. So you probably heard of coronary artery disease, right? Okay, that's the one affecting the vessels to the heart. And it's caused by, so diabetes and nutrition and heart disease are very closely linked, right? So this coronary artery disease is caused by a fatty buildup or cholesterol buildup, little balls of fat that are sticky, and they stick to the inside of the artery on the endothelium, and it causes plaque. And that plaque narrows the artery. I'm sure you've heard all this. That decreases the blood flow, which is not good, right? So you may have heard it referred to as hardening of the arteries or atherosclerosis. That's what that is. Now, you can also get blood vessel disease of the brain. So when the blood vessels are narrowed, leading to the brain, what does that cause? Stroke, right, and right. You can also have decreased blood flow to your legs and feet, and that's called peripheral artery disease, right? And so with diabetes, that happens a lot. And actually, lower limb amputation is one of the major results of uncontrolled diabetes if it goes that direction. So we don't want the blood flow to stop. We don't want the arteries to be narrowed. We want to try to prevent this, okay? So let's take a look at heart disease in the US. Well, it's not great. It is the #1 killer. It's the leading cause of death, and one person dies every 33 seconds. Yeah. Almost 700,000 people in the US have died from heart disease in 2021. That's 1 in 5 deaths. The social, emotional, health, and economic cost of heart disease is staggering. It's about $240 billion each year, and that's in 2020 dollars. We're now 4 years beyond that. The good news is, when you look at this right here, there's Massachusetts. See that? See how we're light pink and not dark red? That means we have very many fewer heart attacks and deaths in Massachusetts. In fact, take a guess. What rank are we? 1 out of 50. Anybody? Just take a guess. No, that would be the worst. If we're... Yeah. No, that's okay. Closer? 47. We're way down. So this is encouraging, right? Yeah. And, we still have quite a few people. It's the number 2 killer in Massachusetts. Cancer still number 1 here. Good job, everyone.
I think it's the food. See the area where you have the red?
Oh, for sure. Lack of exercise. Lots. Oh, yes. Fried butter. I never wanted to try that. I don't know. So there are there are risk factors. We all know these, right? You could tell me this. We'll just read down them real fast. Overweightness. So, right? That's we all know this. Body mass index, right here, this is about okay. Over here, it's not so okay. We want to try to be under 25 BMI. It's just your weight divided by height. And then you have your waist size. Now, a very simple measure of overweightness is how big your tummy is. If you're a female and it's over 35 inches, that's not so good. You probably need to address that. If you're a male and it's over 40 inches, then you probably might want to address that. Just very generally speaking. Some of us are taller and et cetera, but that's a nice one you can do on your own. Diabetes, as we discussed already, really contributes very closely to heart disease. And we want our fasting blood sugars under 100 milligrams per deciliter. We want our A1C under 7, right? We'll look at another slide that breaks that down a little bit more. Hypertension, our blood pressure, we definitely want that under 140 over 90, right? And then our lipids. That's very good. I heard you say 90 over 60. Wow. Okay, our lipids, we're going to get onto a whole new slide about this, but basically we want to keep the good cholesterol high and the bad cholesterol low. And depending on what we're eating, we can do a pretty good job of that. Renal disease, contributor, risk factor for heart disease. Smoking, we all know that, right? Back in the day when I was growing up in the 60s and 70s, my parents both smoked. In fact, they were told, go home, smoke a cigarette if you're stressed out, and calm down. Right? Well, that doesn't go anymore. We know better. Getting enough physical activity. And last one, drinking too much alcohol. Now, I can't tell you what that is because things change all the time. I can't tell you what too much alcohol is. You might want to ask your physician about that one. It seems to change back and forth, whether it's 1 drink or 2 drinks a day, so I don't have a number for you on that one. This is all from the CDC. Everything I'll be presenting today is either from the NIH, National Institutes of Health, CDC, Centers for Disease Control, American Heart Association, Harvard, etc. So let's look at the lipids. Cholesterol, we have good and bad. 80% of cholesterol is made in the liver. Only 20% of our cholesterol comes from diet. But that 20% makes an enormous difference. So, what is you've heard of LDLs, right? What does that stand for? Lousy lipoproteins. Those are the bad ones, the ones we don't want. They, again, build up the cholesterol on the inside of the arteries, causing plaque, causing decreased blood flow, and eventually heart attack. The foods you're going to find lousy lipoproteins in, a lot of red meat, fried foods, baked foods, etc. We'll come back to that as well. Your HDLs are your healthy or happy lipoproteins, carry the cholesterol out of our body. So they carry it away into the liver where it's processed and gotten rid of. That's the one we want to keep high, okay? The happy, healthy one, we want high. And that we can accomplish that by eating foods like avocados, nuts, oatmeal, olive oil, fatty fish like, what's a nice fatty fish? Salmon. Yeah. Antioxidant foods and soy. Most practitioners will look at the low or the lousy lipoproteins and help you to lower them. So this is a quick chart. We want to be less than 100 milligrams per deciliter. And by the way, diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol, all those things are silent killers. Why? Because we can't determine. Go ahead. Sometimes you don't feel it, and you can't determine it without a blood test. So a lot of people are walking around with high blood pressure or definitely diabetes. A vast majority of people with diabetes don't know they have it. Yeah. So it's good to see your physician regularly and get all your tests. You know that. All right. So the diabetes connection, we saw how many people are actually pass with heart disease. We have what's considered a diabetic catastrophe in our country right now, for lack of words. 38 million Americans have it. About 95% are type 2. Type 2 we develop over time. We're not born with that. And that's the one we can prevent, right? Okay. So high glucose, like fat, damages your blood vessels and the nerves that go around the heart. So that adversely affects the pumping mechanism. So too much glucose in the blood does the same thing as too much fat. They worked hand in glove, as a matter of fact. They're partners. Furthermore, the excess blood sugar or glucose is stored as fat. And we know, again, that's not good to have excess fat. Diabetes can also cause high blood pressure. And high blood pressure, again, damages the artery walls and the nerves that control the heart, the pumping mechanism. And if you get swelling of the legs or feet or fluid buildup in the lungs, that can be a result of high blood pressure. So again, combining high blood pressure and diabetes can greatly increase your risk for heart disease and stroke. Let's look at how insulin and diabetes work. So glucose is a molecule. It's the final end product of food being broken down in the body. That's what goes into our cells. That's what gives us energy. We could not function without that energy, okay, going into the cells. So this is a cell. These are the glucose molecules right here, and that is the insulin. So it's a lock and key mechanism whereby we eat food, we break it down, the glucose goes into bloodstream, the pancreas releases insulin from the islets of Langerhorn, and the insulin unlocks the door for the glucose to go into the cell. Pretty easy, right? Until we have overload. So a huge meal, or just consistently eating a lot of high carbs and added sugar in our diet will cause the insulin to stop acting. And that's called insulin resistance, and that causes diabetes type 2. So if you could imagine all these blue glucose molecules engulfing that cell, that's what's happening when you get diabetes, okay? Type 1 is rare and gestational. It's less than 5%. That's something you're born with, and that's where more of an autoimmune disorder. So we're focused on type 2 right here in this slideshow, because that's something we can actually control. So once again, different methods of having your blood checked. That's the way we can find out about type 2. Or actually A1C is a little different, but anybody know that A1C is just an average of your, okay, you already know that, of 3 months. 3 months. It's a glycated protein, means it's got sugar around the protein, and I just know people with diabetes, they can be having wild excursions way up, way down, and the average comes out 7. They're like, oh, I'm just fine. But they're not just fine. It's an okay measure, but the other two are much more thorough blood tests and actually determining the exact, in real time, what your blood glucose levels are.
Excuse me, out of all the diseases, just my opinion, that's one that I would definitely be careful with because it'll get you.
Yeah.
Terrifies me. I don't have it. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah. It's serious because it leads to so many other things as well. And the connection with heart health is undeniable. Now, everybody, agrees on that one. So what do? We have diabetes. We eat healthy. Everybody here in this room is so savvy. I know you know this. We're just going to go right through it, right? We know each other from before. Vegetables, whole grains, lean meats, being active. You're 150 minutes a week. How many people get 150 minutes a week or try? Oh, look at that. That's amazing. And then if you can, that, by the way, is moderate aerobic. And if you are vacuuming your house or shoveling snow or raking over time, that counts. Did you know that? You don't have to be on a treadmill. Yeah. So just staying active really counts towards this goal. Always do your finger pricks, or your continuous glucose monitors, whatever you have to do. Take medication as prescribed by your doctor. Don't be chintzy with that, and make sure you get your regular checkups. You can keep a glucose log and reduce the risk. Well, lo and behold, it's the same as heart disease. The risks are the same. Overweightness, low physical activity, reducing your blood pressure, stop smoking, increase your healthy or happy lipoproteins and decrease your lousy lipoproteins. It's the same exact thing. So why is... I don't know why diet is a 4-letter word, but it is. Maybe because we have a SAD diet. SAD meaning standard American diet, which is high in red meat and processed meat, refined grains, added sugar, saturated fat, processed foods, sodium, and cholesterol. That's pretty sad, right? Why is SAD so bad? Well, we can kind of figure that one out. We've already been talking about all this, right? The damaged arteries, the plaque that forms. We talk about the lousy lipoprotein and the healthy or happy lipoproteins. Let's talk a minute about saturated versus unsaturated. What's a saturated fat? You can see it. Somebody heard it, said it, I heard it. Hard at room temp. Right. So what would that include? I didn't bring anything. Butter. There's saturated fat in bacon. Yes. Butter, margarine, lard. What else? Yeah. Yeah, it's in donuts. Exactly. It's big time in donuts. So what's our unsaturated fat? Anything that's liquid. All of your liquid oils.
Are any saturated fats okay to eat?
Well, in small quantities. Now, the latest science is saying that usually trans fats are out completely. What's a trans fat? That's a trick question. That's a hard question. So you take a perfectly fine liquid oil and you bombard it with hydrogen atoms artificially. And there you have your partially hydrogenated or hydrogenated oil, also called a trans fat. Now, the reason we started creating trans fats was for a noble cause. In the 50s and 60s, we decided we're going to feed the world. And lo and behold, the hard or saturated fats have a longer shelf life. Oils do not have a long shelf life. You'll notice on a lot of olive oils, it has a shaded or darkened glass, right? Why is that? Because it's oxidized by light, air, and heat. That's why they say keep in a cool place. So the oils don't last long. So the food industry is like, well, we can't use that and feed the world. Let's create something that's kind of healthy. Now we know, ooh, those trans fats aren't healthy at all. But that's the history of it. So trans fats, totally out. If you see that on anything, the latest is don't eat it. Now look at that delicious 5,000 calorie hamburger. And it looks like 5 or 6 cows, and it's just dripping with cheese, and it's got a white bun. And down here, look at those yummy donuts that are filled with trans fat, sugar, and white flour, and that's about it. So totally devoid of any nutritional value, truly. And I know they taste good, and I still eat them once in a while, because we're human, right? We want a nice sweet now and then. Can't be perfect. But it's the same gosh darn thing. Eating too much of any of this is bad. It's sad, it's bad, and it's you know, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, moving along. Oh, the last thing I want to say, if you don't mind, my pointing out why refined flour or refined food is not healthy. So I usually I forgot the slide up, but if we take a wheat kernel, and I'll just do an air thing here, it's kind of shaped like this, and on the outside there's bran, and on the inside there's germ. And what happens when it's processed, the bran is taken off and put somewhere else, the germ is plucked out and put somewhere else, and then we only have the pulp. And additionally, during the 60s in particular, we like to have everything super white, so we would bleach it. So now there's 0 nutritional value in white flour, and what the FDA had to do was add the nutrients back in that we stripped out. So if you see fortified, you know what that means. Artificial stuff that we should have taken out in the first place. So if we can, we want to eat whole grain, whole flour, et cetera, okay? Just in general. I know, again, we're human and we can't go crazy with all this. So having our healthy cholesterol, low sodium, plants with high water content, high fiber foods, that includes all your beans. Sweet potatoes are extremely high in fiber. I didn't know if you knew that, and potatoes. All your vegetables, pretty much. Again, try to keep the grains whole. Fruits and berries, nuts, not too much salt. Who suffered through the unsalted almonds today? Anybody? Was it terrible? No. Okay. I don't mean to torture you, but okay. I wouldn't feed you anything that I wouldn't eat, okay? Bottom line. So polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fat, we already talked about that. The liquids, aim for that, the liquids. Lean, oily fish that have omega-3s, again, salmon is real popular, skinless poultry. You've heard of the Mediterranean diet, the DASH diet. Those are both very, very good. Okay, let's take a quick look at this. So on the left are the grains to choose from. On the right, you have green light and red light, go, stop. On the left, whole wheat flour, whole grain breads, high fiber cereal, whole grains such as brown rice if possible, barley, whole grain pasta. I wish I had a, right, there you go. I wish we had a kitchen here and we could cook that up together. Yeah, it'd be nice. Oatmeal. And then over here we have the white refined flour. Now you know why that's not so healthy. White bread, same thing. It's made from that white flour. All your frozen waffles, muffins, pies, cakes. Again, Yeah, it's all the stuff that smells so good and tastes so good. It's the fat. The fat smells good, right? And sometimes it tastes pretty good too. So we're swayed in that direction. Healthy fruits and veggies, again, go on stop. Fresh or frozen, preferably. Low sodium if it's canned. And if it's canned fruit, packed in water or light syrup, not heavy syrup, okay? Over here, vegetables with cream sauce is not as good because now you're putting the fat back in. And usually they're kind of overcooked and they might even be mashed. So you're not getting the full value of having whole vegetables. Fried or breaded vegetables, okay, with, in limited quantities. And so I know you know all of this. Healthy fats and oils. We already talked about that. The polyunsaturated and unsaturated oils, all of them. Also, promise, active, or smart balance. Those do not have trans fats. Those are two margarines that you can have that are hard but do not have trans fats. Okay? And you just look on the back. Nuts, seeds, avocado. Over here, limit your quantities of butter. If you just have to have it, you can eat it in small quantities. Don't slather it on. Yeah, right. Yeah, some of the yes.
I heard canola oil isn't an oil, it's not a good oil because there is no such thing as a canola plant.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got to stay up on that. There's a lot of new information coming out all the time, and I appreciate your being on top of that because when I was first studying nutrition 40 years ago, butter was on the menu. So was margarine. So there's a lot of progress that's been made, and I just encourage you to stay on top of it and make your own decision, informed decision. Yes, sir.
What does gluten-free do about all this?
Gluten-free, well, for people who have celiac disease or IBS or anything like that, you can't eat gluten because it gives you extreme digestive issues. And I myself am gluten-free, and I have a lot of products up here that we can explore together. The snacks you notice were gluten-free, the pea chips and the lentil chips. And I cook with gluten-free. At home. So there's a whole bunch of flours that you can use, and you're not limited anymore. You can really find anything you want. And when I have people over for dinner and things like that, they eat everything. And I'm like, you must have liked that. And they're like, yeah. Do you want to know what it is? No. No. Because they know me. I'm like, okay, well. No, but it sounds delicious. It sounds delicious. Got to put that on my list. Yes, sir.
What benefit does it give you if you don't have to eat gluten-free, but you do?
Oh, that's okay.
Is a byproduct of your spouse's diet?
Wheat is now, we ate so much of it for so long. A lot of people have a lot of allergies to it anyway. And the way it's been processed and the chemicals that are put on it for growing, if it's not organic. We never had these allergies before. It's because of this mass production of food. We're feeding the world or trying to feed our burgeoning population. And a lot of people stay away from wheat just because. You're going to get everything you need from all the other grains that you can have. And by eating a balanced diet and your vegetables and so forth. That was a good question. Okay, so here's your healthy eating plate. This is Harvard. I like it better than the CDC because it has, lo and behold, water and oil. And two things that we need to survive. So it's very easy. Half a plate, vegetables and fruits. Here's your whole grains, your healthy protein, and you can diversify that quite a bit. Beans, nuts, limited red meat and cheese, fish, poultry, etc. Avoid bacon, cold cuts, and other processed meats, and then drink your water. Again here, Harvard is suggesting not drinking too much juice, but instead eating it in your fruit. And that is, in fact, what I do. Why?
Not added salt. I'm sorry,
No added sugar, fiber. Yeah, and if you eat a piece of fruit, you're getting the pulp, you're getting the fiber, you're getting everything that's unprocessed, and it fills you up, right? If you have half a cup of juice, you're going to be thirsty or hungry in no time. It just doesn't fill you up, so you have to keep drinking more and more and more. Your sugars go up. Fruit has sugar in it. There's absolutely no way around it. Natural sugars. So I think we've gone over all this. A variety of vegetables and fruits. Stay active. Yeah, you already know all this. Yeah. Okay. So whole grain over processed. Eat whole fruits. Eat vegetables, lots of them. The less processing, the better. So, and I'm guilty of this too. I go into the store and I see the chopped kale in a bag, and I'm like, oh, I'm in a hurry this week. I'm just going to grab that. But I try to get the fresh kale in a bunch. You know, the less processing of everything, the better. And you're just eliminating a whole lot of things that we're not sure is happening during the processing also. Fresh fruit over frozen, and frozen over canned. Frozen is still, when you flash freeze it, it's some of the nutrients are going to be lost. When you can, it's high temperatures, some of the nutrients are going to be lost. So fresh is always a little bit better. Your diabetes superfoods, dark green, leafy greens, citrus, berries, you know all this. Okay, let's look at a label. So I thought we'd have a little fun today and go through this is my food petting table right here. And you can just come up and pick stuff up and read the labels, and we can break it into small groups or do whatever we want to do. So we start up here. Now I know that you know this. We're just reviewing, okay? This is just a review. So we look right up here. First thing, serving size. 2/3 of a cup, right? That's not bad. Come down here. This is what you're getting for 2/3 of a cup. 230 calories, 8 grams of fat, 12%, not too bad. 0 trans fat, excellent. 0 cholesterol, excellent. Sodium is 7%, excellent. Carbohydrates, not bad. Depends on if you are diabetic, you have to follow your diet plan, okay, with your doctor. Sodium, again, 7%. Dietary fiber, 16%, pretty darn good. Sugars are 1, and you're getting 3 grams of protein. Now, I have no idea what this food is. I just grabbed it from the internet. I can't tell you what that food product is. I can just say that looking at it, it's fairly healthy. Now, these top foods right here are nutrients. We want to have under 25%. So if the total fat was 33%, might not want to eat too much of that product, right? If the sodium, particularly if you have heart issues or high blood pressure, if the sodium was 50%, might want to run the other way, right? We do need fiber. Down here, it's got some extra things. It's got iron, it's got calcium, yay, little vitamin A. Okay. The next thing. It's getting tired of me. That's what it is. I'm talking a lot. Okay, wait a minute. No, it's not working. Is anybody a techie here? Did it come back on? Oh, there we go. Okay, yay. Thank you for your thoughts. If we look up at how many servings per container, though, it's 8. So you take that 8, if you eat the whole, whatever this is, the whole thing, you have to multiply all this by 8. You see? Yep. So that's where we have to be careful. When we look at this on the back, make sure that we're not eating more than 1 or 2 servings. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Well, that too, that alone. If you ate times 230, that would be your allotment for calories probably for the day. If our diet is roughly based on 2,000 calories, roughly, depending on who you are, male, female, tall, small. So that's just okay. So then the other thing I always look for is a short list of ingredients. If it has over 10 ingredients, I kind of don't want to eat it. That's just me. That means there's a lot of fillers, artificial ingredients, artificial colors, things to, maybe make it taste better, but maybe not so good for us. Words you can pronounce. If you see something that looks like it's alien, well, it might be. I wouldn't eat it. High protein and fiber, low sugar and saturated fat. And just, when you're reading a label, look for high fructose corn syrup. That's also on the outs right now. Again, your hydrogenated or trans fats, artificial colors and flavors, anything over-processed. And then your hidden terms. So down here, you all know what MSG is, right? Okay. Hydrolyzed vegetable protein or sodium caseinate. Who knew what sodium caseinate is? It's MSG. I didn't even know that, And, sucrose, lactose, fructose. You can be getting sugar in like a million different ways because it has all different kinds of names. So it's tough. Our job is hard, staying healthy. But we can help each other out, right? This, I thought, now, I kind of goofed. I shortchanged you today. I had copies of this and a word search. I will drop them back, though, over the weekend. They'll be here for you. You can just pick them up at the front desk, okay? I like this, and the reason why the title says for the holidays and for every day is because we just got out of winter holidays, right? Where are we heading? Spring. We have Ramadan, then we have St. Patty's Day, then we have Easter. Boom, boom, boom. And what do we do on the holidays? Yeah, we eat. We're with our families and friends. We have a good time, right? But this is gonna, just doing a few little things can help through the next 4 weeks because it's a solid 4 weeks of holidays. I like this for several reasons, and then I'm going to change one ingredient on you, okay? So if we start with the calories, it's moderate. The serving size is 1.5 cups. That's not quite a lot for soup. That's not bad. You're getting a lot of good stuff there. It's nut-free, dairy-free, soy-free, egg-free, and gluten-free, so you can serve it to almost anybody. And then there's very few ingredients. Now, I'm not going to count the spices. Those are not nutrients. Nutrient food would be olive oil, kielbasa, onion, chicken broth, kale, and cannelli beans. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 6. That falls into under 10 ingredients, right? Okay.
Why not take fresh chopped onions?
I don't know. Yeah, I just took this from the internet. I mean, fresh would be better. Good point. Fresh chopped onions would be better, actually. And fresh garlic, definitely. Yes, yes. Yes, you can alter this to make it better. Absolutely. The other thing I would change, I would use turkey kielbasa, which is low sodium and uncured. And it's not that expensive. It's really not. And then I think the protein content actually goes up with uncured turkey kielbasa as well. So look at the nutritional panel here. 26 grams of carbohydrates, not bad at all. 15 grams of protein, good, nice. Fat, 6 grams, not bad. Oh, sorry, where are we? 16 grams of fat. So again, we would have to multiply that, or you'd follow your plan. It's still not bad, but if you had 16 grams of fat 3 times a day, you might not, but if you have it here and then you don't have it at all, you would still be under whatever you're on, if 45 grams, let's say. It's kind of typical. 4 grams of sugar, beautiful. So it's a pretty healthy, easy to make. What I loved was the total cook time is 15 minutes for people on the go. 10 minutes of active time. There's a lot of things like this. We can, in a pinch, in a crunch, if we're, our time is short and we want to serve to everybody without worrying if there's any allergies or things like that. It's one example, one of many. Last, exercise. You all know how important that is. Yes, did you have a question?
No, I was just.
Oh,
Sorry.
no, that's all right. No. So exercise, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, NIH, CDC, Healthy People 2020 is now Healthy People 2030. So, but all the indicators are still the same for now on the 150 minutes of exercise and all that. Movement mobilizes your immune system. It reduces your risk of chronic disease like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, lowers your blood pressure. You all know this. And you look in great shape to me. Here's just a quick snapshot of what your exercise schedule might be. 150 minutes a week of moderate aerobic activity. We already talked about that. 2 days of strength training and flexibility, if you can, a little bit. You can. I'm sure there are plenty of classes here that you can get in on, right? Light weights and things like that. Okay, and then mix in your activities. That's basically it. Down here it says walk, run, dance, play. Do what you can. Be safe. And it's just to end our conversation here from my end. I wish you a healthy, balanced, and mindful holiday schedule coming up and every day from here on out. So it's not just, and I put it in a little bit of a holistic circle, I hope you don't mind. It's not just food, drink, and diet and exercise, but our emotions, our thoughts, our stress level, right? Constantly want to be mindful of that and try to bring that down. Sleep hygiene, rest. I know I struggle with that one. Our spirit, our religion, being with our loved ones and friends, and our own personal growth. And you're all here today because you're on a journey for your own personal growth, right? So I herald you. I thank you for coming. And I'm going to invite you up, or I can pass these around if you would like me to, if you want to read a couple labels, or if not, that's okay too. What do you want to do? Go on up. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.